Okay, this week's lesson is going to focus on landscapes. Landscapes are scenes of nature or the outdoors, and they require a great deal of detail. Detail helps things look more realistic, helps make things look more realistic. Examples of detail include texture, value, which is the use of light and dark, and color. All right, so we should be able to use things that we learned before, like lines, shapes, and forms. And those things will help us make our landscapes. Now, what are some examples of landscapes? Well, some examples of landscapes would be forests, beaches, mountain ranges. So for this lesson, we are going to draw an example of a landscape, and we're going to focus on details using the things that we've learned already. Now, I'm not going to show you a step-by-step on how to draw a landscape. I will show you how to draw a couple examples of things you might find in a landscape. For instance, in most landscapes, you'll find trees, right? Or you might find some kind of water, like a pond, an ocean, a lake, a river. So I'll show you a couple different ways you can draw those things, including an easy way to draw mountains, which we've learned before, but you are responsible for making a whole picture of a landscape. All right, so follow along, add what you learned in this lesson to your picture, and your assignment is going to be showing me your own personal landscape. Okay, let's start with trees. Different types of trees are found at different landscapes. You could see your traditional oak style tree, which is drawn by starting with the base. Then, this is called the V technique. You make the letter V, and you follow that letter V out to the sides. When you're ready to make some more branches, you make another V, and you follow it. And you keep adding V's until you think that you've made enough branches for your tree. Some people also like to think of this as kind of a broccoli technique, because sometimes it can look like broccoli while you're drawing it. All right, so then you just want to make some wiggly lines, like there's some leaves coming through. And then you can bring it around and add some little details, some textured layers. Tree has bark on it, which is made by just curving lines around each other. And there you have a traditional style tree. You can also do a palm tree. Palm trees are tall and skinny. Then they start to get bigger at the top, and they have a lot of palm fronds that come out. And those palm fronds have a lot of little spiky leaves that come off. You get a cool palm tree. You can add as many of those as you want. And then a third type of tree is a pine tree. There's a lot of different types of pines. Some are branchy, some are more tall and slender. Start with almost like a crooked needle. And then, like we did when we learned textures, we're just gonna layer some shading on there, getting wider as we go down our tree. add some of your bark, and there's a palm tree. So those are some trees you can incorporate into your landscape. Let's talk about waterways, water. If you are drawing something like a beach, you want to make sure you do your horizon line like we did in our perspective. That's where the sky meets the water. But when you're at the beach, you also need another line where the water, this time kind of wavy because it's coming to the shore, meets the sand. And then you can add your details. Let's just box that off so we can see it a little better. Water has waves. You can make your waves really high or very mellow, crashing in. Sand is kind of smooth. Get yourself a little sun action, some clouds. Okay, so you have that kind of water where it's just an endless sea. You could also draw a river. Rivers should get smaller as they go farther away. Water running. Or you could draw something like a lake, which has a boundary to it. Okay, lakes are kind of easy. They're nice and calm and still. Straight lines for their details. Put some trees back there. Those are different types of waterways you can do. And then, just as a refresher, we made mountains before. You can make your mountains pointy. I like a nice jagged mountain. Layering always helps create space. You can put snow caps on them. And you can add that rocky texture. Wherever you see fit. We could also have a very rounded mountain, almost more like a hill. It really depends on where your mountains are located. Mountains don't often have to be rugged. They can be very round, curvy mountains. So that's completely up to you. These are just some of the aspects. My kids in class have added things like animals. They've added different backgrounds. I've seen some good sunsets. I've seen some kids add weather, like rain. So go ahead and get as creative as you want, but I want a full-size picture of a landscape. And there's a lot of things online if you Google landscape art that can help you out and give you ideas. This is going to be due on Wednesday. Well, you know what? We are off next Wednesday from school, so this will be due next Thursday. I'm going to whip up a little landscape real quick and show you an example, but I really want you to make your own. Alright, so here's a little example of a landscape with a mountain scene here with some trees and a nice little lake or pond. Now, again, we're focusing on detail and we're practicing all of those things that we've learned this year. I'm excited to see your landscapes. Remember, next Thursday, we're going to turn these in via Canvas. Don't email them to me. Submit them in Canvas. It's a lot easier to grade them. All right, and I'll see you on Zoom if you have any questions.